Hello there, it's Pete back again with another review for Soundsphere magazine. Today I am in a slightly different setting and I am also going to be reviewing Conjuring 2, the new James Wan directed horror movie that's just come out. I'm going to give you my thoughts on it, overall view of it, the things I liked about it, the things I didn't like about it, and is it worth checking out? Is it a scary movie? So before I dive into Conjuring 2, I'm just going to give you guys a little bit of a backstory on my history with the first Conjuring, which came out in 2013, I think. And at the time I saw it, and I did enjoy it. I thought it was a well-done horror film. I thought it was well structured, especially compared to what most horror films tend to be like nowadays. But I did feel that even at the time I saw it, it wasn't amazingly scary. I thought there were some creepy bits in it, but I didn't find it quite as good as a lot of other people. I know at the time it got rave reviews and people saying it's the best horror film in 10 years and James Wan's like a master horror director, and I felt that for me the hype for that movie got way overboard from what it was, which was a decently directed horror movie that I did enjoy, but it wasn't something that for me was like transcendent of a genre or anything like that, which is kind of the reputation it acquired. So going into this one, horror sequels are usually not the greatest. Quite often they're a lot worse than the first one, plus all the baggage that it has from being a sequel to the first Conjuring, which loads of people loved. It's tough to sort of follow that up. And even though I did enjoy the first Conjuring, didn't think it was amazing, thought it was good. So I was kind of like, this one could even be just not even any good, because we did already do a sort of a spin-off from the Conjuring called Annabelle, which was absolutely dreadful. It was terrible. It was not worth checking out at all. So I was quietly optimistic this one will be better, because it was James Wan directing, and he is a good director. He's a solid director in my opinion. He's not a master director, but he is a solid director. And he was sort of supposed to be leaving horror behind, I think, but then he sort of got coerced back into doing Conjuring 2, which sometimes is a recipe for disaster when a director is sort of coerced back into doing something they don't really want to do, but they sort of feel, well, people want me to do this, I could get some money out of it. So I was a little unsure as to his motivations for coming back to do it in the first place. But all those misgivings out of the way, I went to go and see it. And full disclosure, I think it is a brilliant horror film. I do think it's better than the first one for me. Maybe because of those slightly lowered expectations. I don't know, I'd have to rewatch it. But it's excellent. And the core thing that it gets right, that's really good in terms of its strengths, is obviously the direction. The direction is very good, it's very creepy. But it's good because it's focused on the characters of this couple, the Warrens. And the thing with it is that that's what really grounds the whole thing. A really good horror film is usually not just horror for the sake of horror. There's usually some kind of anchor point to it. If you think of films like The Exorcist and films like The Shining, they're very much about the character relationships and the character dynamics, and usually it's some sort of family thing going on. So this is the case with this. There's a family that's being victimised in Enfield, in Britain. It's really about how his family sort of survive this ordeal. And counterpoint to that, there's the two characters in the first one, which is Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga, who are both a really good on-screen couple. You do buy the chemistry, you buy that these two people, love each other and are married to each other and are sort of tied to each other. And I felt this one was better as well, because one of the things about the first Conjuring was, aside from a couple of references here and there, I didn't really feel that the principal two characters, the two characters who were there investigating the thing, were actually in any immediate danger. It felt more like they were on the outside looking in, and the characters who were in immediate danger were the family they're trying to help. And here, there is the family that's trying to help, but due to certain things that happen in the story, you do develop a foreboding that one of the characters, at least, could potentially die. One of these two might die. So it does do a good job of keeping that suspense all the way through. Will this character die? Will they not die? Will they survive? Will they not survive? So they did a good job with that. I think overall the acting was decent, especially for a horror film. The script was good. So I say that's all the positives, really. I mean, it was, in my mind, better pace than the first one. One of the issues, again, I had with the first one was that I felt in the middle, when they were doing all the investigating and things like that, it felt a little bit flat. It started to get a little bit like safe. And I didn't, again, that sense of foreboding that was there at the beginning and then came back at the end sort of dipped and went away in the second act. This one, it didn't do that. This one, it felt like it was constantly there. There was a constant threat going on, even when it wasn't something like really crazy happening. And even though it was jump scares and the sort of things that we've seen in movies before, it was well orchestrated and well crafted, and it really did make me freak out and make me jump out of my skin. And it's not often a horror movie really does that anymore. Most of the time it's telegraphed from a mile away and you just laugh at it because it's not scary. This was really scary, and I think it did a really good job with that. The only real negative I've got is that ideas-wise, it's stuff we've seen before. There's nothing original about it. It still plays on the horror tropes that we're familiar with in terms of paranormal investigations, and you have people who are setting up video cameras and a guy going through the house trying to track where the ghost is, and a little girl who's possessed and talking through a ghost and all this sort of stuff. It's not got any original ideas, which is the same with the first one. It was sort of derivative in terms of the ideas, but what it is good for is how well done it is and how it does make you really jump out of your skin at several moments, and manages to do that, like I said, throughout. I think towards the end there's a case for saying it's a little less tense towards the end, because you can kind of, but for me, I felt tension right up until the last minute or so of the movie, or a couple of minutes, which I couldn't say for the first one. So for me, I'm going to, obviously, you can probably tell, I really loved it. There's not much to not like about it. I felt it was perfectly paced, it was very, very well directed, very, very tense. It does a good job at setting up characters and spends time with the characters, so you care about the characters, and that's the key thing with a good horror, is that you spend time with the characters. It's not about how much gore there is or how many people get killed or anything like that. It is really about making relatable characters that you can care about, so that when the horror is happening, you're really attached to what's going to happen to them. And that's what makes it scary. It's not going to be scary if you don't care about the characters, and 90% of horror movies get that wrong because the characters are so one-dimensional, you don't care about them. And they're rendered with a level of believability here as well in general. There's a couple of cheesy moments, there's a couple of bits where, if you're being cynical, you could sort of laugh at it, but I think in general the acting and the way that the family sort of bond and sort of stay together, and the way that the couple, the Warrens, sort of deal with helping them stay together as a family, really makes it have a heart. It makes it have a sort of a good focus, and I think that's what good horror needs. So I'm going to go ahead and give Conjuring a 9 out of 10. I really, really loved it. I could really recommend it if you're after a horror movie that would really make you jump and really make you jump out of your skin. Really, really could recommend checking it out. There are some people out there who they won't even entertain the idea of horror because they just find the whole idea is too freaky, and I know that if you're one of those people, obviously it goes out saying you won't want to check this out, because it is scary. It is exactly what you don't want. If you really don't like horror movies that really make you jump and make you scared, you aren't going to like it. But anyone who, like me, loves those kind of movies is going to love it, and in general I think it's going to do very, very well, go down well, and probably lead to a third one. So that's my review for Conjuring 2. Overall, thought it was excellent. 9 out of 10. And James Wan has done a good job of it. He is a good director. He's not. I still maintain he's not like a wunderkind director, like a sort of a sensational, original masterpiece of a sort of filmmaker. He's not like that, but he knows how to frame a shot. He knows how to set up tension. He knows how to shoot a film very well, and that goes without saying nowadays. That is nothing to be sniffed at. So I'm very interested to see what he does next with Aquaman, which is his next film. I'd love to see how he goes about doing a DC movie, an action movie, a superhero movie, and move away from the horror genre a bit, see what he could do with that. So I'm excited to see what he does next. And he has gone up a bit in my estimation because he had done a couple of movies, like the second Insidious, I didn't think was that great. So and Fast 7, which I didn't like either. So as a director, he's gone up in my opinion a bit, but I still think he's not like one of the top tier directors, but he's a good director, and he didn't phone it in here like I thought he might do. He didn't just do it for the money or do it for the paycheck, and it just felt like a lazy movie. It really felt like he really did commit to making this a really decent time at the cinema, a really decent experience for the audience, and I think that's what he does really well. So good on you, James Wan. So I would urge everyone to go and check it out. It's still playing at cinemas now, and if you like a good scary movie, I couldn't recommend it highly enough. So without further ado, I'm going to sign off. This has been Pete Gallagher for Soundsphere magazine, and I'll see you guys in a bit. Bye.